One. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Hustle and Hoops podcast. This episode will be tackling another one of our offseason previews. We did the Detroit Pistons right before the draft, and it was a smashing success. So now we're going to take the team that had the first overall pick in this year's draft, a team that has a lot of young players, is looking forward to the future, none other than the Orlando Magic. They are a young and developing team, and I'm just going to say it right off the bat. I think they have the potential to drastically improve from last year. So before we get started in the episode, Dove, I don't know why. It just looks like you have something to say.
Nah, what's up, guys?
No?
How are we doing? How's our day going?
That's
Up,
just
fellas?
his face.
Is that just his resting face?
I just look like I
no. You know what it is, dude. He's just ready to disagree with something I say.
Yeah,
He's like he's
exactly.
waiting for me to say something that he disagrees with, so he can just jump
Got his
in right
eyebrows
away.
up.
Yeah, like he's ready for that.
So
Every
he's
time.
always on edge. He's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
on tip. He
Exactly.
brings the fire. We love it. And we'll see.
We wouldn't be here without him.
Anyways, how are you
Exactly.
guys doing?
Sir.
Great.
Oh,
thanks
you
for
know I'm
asking.
not so great. I'm not.
No? Why
I'm
not?
having a great day though.
Oh.
But yesterday I stubbed my toe.
Oh,
And now
Oh.
it's now grown into a whole operation. So
Oh God.
All right, yeah, we don't need too much
not gonna
detail.
gross,
It's
not,
like
not
gross.
grossing anyone out, of course, but
Operation.
All right. So before we get started, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music or Anchor, there is a visual component to the episode that will be posted on our YouTube, Hustle and Hoops on YouTube. It is not required. If you want to continue listening, please do. But if you want the full experience, you can go onto YouTube, Hustle and Hoops. It will also be there. And yeah. So without further ado, we'll just get started, right?
Really quick to add to that, just for the future, Spotify has added a beta of video as well for your podcast, so it will be available too on Spotify, via video.
And to add to that, it's hustle and hoops, not hustle and hoops.
Yep. True.
Yep.
Hustle. the
All
letter
one
N,
word.
hoops.
Hustle.
Gotta make it known.
Hustle N, the letter N.
That's. I already said that.
He's got.
I said it
You have to
first.
disagree with me on that too.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, boys.
Shoob's chippy
We're all
too.
excited.
We're in a weird mood today.
Let's go, Dove. Let's go.
All right, start.
You.
I had to click start. Hold on.
All right. So similar to the first episode, we got stars, cores, and pieces. They have a very young core, a lot of unproven guys. Their highest paid player is not even on this list. Because to be honest, he probably isn't deserving to be on this list. Because their new number one guy was the number one overall pick in this year's draft, Paolo Banchero out of Duke University. I'm not going to read Dove's little blurb.
Got a little Hezo Mellow Jello favorite color yellow in him. There you go.
I didn't want to
No
read that.
hesitation.
Yeah,
It's like you said it a million times.
I have said it a million times.
Oh, I know.
Jack, do you think Paolo was the correct number one overall pick for the Orlando Magic?
Like, yeah, he was the guy I wanted. Like, from a Pistons fan standpoint, he was the guy I wanted. And that's why I wanted the third pick, because I thought he was going to go third. But I think they saw in Paolo what he's got. And they saw from the workouts that he's better than Jabari Smith. Yes, I know his name. But yeah, I respect it. Like, I think he's the best guy in this draft class.
Okay. So, and Duville, do you agree? Do you think he's a correct fit around the guys that the Magic already had?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about fit because going into the draft, I was definitely thinking Jabari was going one, thinking that he was a better fit. But on the early games that we've seen in the summer league, we haven't seen him with the full team, obviously, but the players he has played with, he's fit in really well, and he's made himself the best player on the court mostly at all times. So
He's so good they shut him down for summer league.
Yeah, they played 2 games
Yeah.
and they're like, we've seen enough. this guy's exactly what we thought he was going to be and more.
So I just think it's definitely too early to tell anything serious, but based on what we've seen, I would say out of the top 3 people, he was definitely like the most NBA ready at this point.
Yeah, I think he does a really good job of making his teammates around him better already. I think we saw a lot of that in his, if he's getting double teamed, he play makes. Like we saw him make nice passes. We see his defense on display. We see him stretch the floor a little bit. Dove, the guy at number 2 we got, he was a rookie of the year contender, arguably the best rookie from last year. Like some would say the most consistent rookie. It was just stuck on the Magic. That's University of Michigan's own Franz Wagner. Do you see him making an improvement off his last year's rookie of the year caliber season alongside Paolo?
I would really hope so. I mean, we all love Franz on here, but we can all admit that shooting isn't necessarily his strongest skill. He's a good off-ball player, but especially when you put him next to a guy like Paolo, who obviously, yes, he has a pretty decent looking shot. He didn't shoot terrible in college. It's just more of a question of putting 2 guys that kind of have a similar role in an offense next to each other that I'm curious about and just want to see what it looks like. And that's why I'm a little worried about him having his sophomore slump, which everyone, almost everyone does. I just feel like it's a little bit more likely for Franz given the circumstances.
Yeah. Just to clarify, when I said Paolo's the best in this draft class, I meant right now.
As of 3 games into the summer league.
No, I just like coming into the draft. But yeah,
I'm fucking with you.
we love Franz, but yeah, you hit it on the dot, so I'm not gonna delay us. Dude, what do you got?
I don't know. Like Shub said, they're very young. I would say best outlook for them coming into this season would be a play-in spot.
Whoa, we're jumping. We're
Is
jumping.
that, is that too much of a jump?
We're talking about Franz.
Just Franz.
Oh,
talking
just
about
Franz. My fault. I was listening, and then Mindy was just like, "What you think?"
Yeah, that's
Franz.
Franz. I love Franz. I don't think a sophomore slump is going to come right now. I think the addition of Paolo is just going to help him because the defense is going to be worried about him a lot more about Paolo than they are about Franz. So that's just going to open up a lot more space for him. And it's just going to be whether or not he can step into that third scorer or maybe even a second scorer. I don't know who would be their second scorer above him. Maybe like a Cole Anthony.
yeah.
That's your
I think he could do
Duve
that.
challenge. That's your Duve challenge. It's like the Kobe challenge. It's the Duve challenge for him this season to become the second highest scorer on the Magic.
My challenge for Franz would be average 16, 5, and 4 and improve your 3-point percentage to above like 33-34%.
I think he shot
35%.
I was gonna say I think he shot around that, but
Well, then that's like league average.
Just-
So
But he only shot the
you guys
ball. He
were
only
saying
had
it was
like
really
what,
bad. That's on me.
three threes a game?
3 attempts. Yeah,
3
3.5
attempts, I mean, yeah.
35% on 3.5 attempts. Like that's
And that's not
It's
even
not bad.
bad.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
He knows
Yeah,
his
I mean,
role.
Yeah, Franz. Like I said, I think Franz's season went very underrated. Like he
Very.
like he arguably could have been rookie of the year. Like
I think
obviously
he
Evan
should have
Mobley
at
had a good year.
least been in the conversation like with Cade Mobley and Scotty.
Yeah, like
He should have been,
I love
yeah.
Cade, but like Franz played every game except like 2. Like Cade missed half the season.
Yeah.
Like at
What
the
did
end
Franz
of the day.
average last year?
Like
He
15 a
averaged
game.
15,
15 a game.
15, 4.5, and 3.
Like
4.5 being at rebounds.
He did
Yeah.
probably have the biggest role playing 30 minutes a game, but like still, like it's not like Cade wasn't playing 30 minutes a game when he was playing. like Franz had the longevity. I think he is due for an improvement. I think he's gonna like part of the issue with Franz coming out. Like I didn't like him. He was just really raw. Like he did a lot of things okay, but didn't
Yeah.
really do anything great. And I think like the stronger he gets, the more experienced he gets on an NBA court, just the better he's gonna be. And I think if you add more confident players around him, like Dude was saying, like it takes the pressure off of Franz even more. I think that allows him to flourish even more. Like he's not the guy. Like I don't think they drafted him thinking like, yeah, this is the guy of the future.
And
But
it's like
gonna
he
be a guy
never
of the future.
it's like he never even left college.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
got Xavier Simpson, Caleb Houston,
Exactly.
brother.
Exactly.
Xavier Simpson. Who else? There's someone else.
They had
John Teskey.
They had
for a little
Ignis.
bit. Iggy
I saw
Brazdeikis.
John
Xavier Simpson's
Teskey on the
gone.
bench in summer league and
Iggy Brazdeikis.
Brazdeikis. Yeah, him.
Ignis.
Xavier was just playing on someone's
Chat.
summer league team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still on
Michigan,
OKC.
Michigan's
yeah,
got a
yeah.
lot of guys in the summer league. Like
Yeah.
Eli Brooks is on a team.
Did
Livers.
Shawnee Brown make one?
Johnny Brown is on a team.
Good for him.
Yabate, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Caleb.
sidetracking. Wendell Carter Jr. Oh, you got something
Really
to say
quick, really
on
quick. I
Franz,
did want to
though?
acknowledge. I wasn't trying to like shit talk Franz. I actually
know,
really
we know.
like Duve's counterpoint of, what I was saying could be an issue, and I think that's the perfect counter to that. So I agree. I think he has the chance to. I'm just a little worried.
I do
Yeah,
want to
Wendell.
say though about Franz, with Paolo coming in, I don't see him like going above like a lot more above 15 points per game with Paolo coming in. So I think if he can work on his splits instead of his overall box score stats, that would be more beneficial to him, and just like, I don't know, maybe like driving to the rim.
Yeah,
Facts.
I mean, I think we'll see a lot more of him this year. Obviously, he's going to be the number 2, number 3, like top 3.
He'll probably be the third guy.
Yeah. But that leaves Wendell Carter on the outside looking in. Honestly, he's a dude who averaged a double, 15 and 10 last year. He came over in the Vucevic trade, so he was the big guy that they got.
Started
out of
shooting some more threes.
their all-star center, and it's really, can he be a starting center on a playoff team? Like that's the question I'll ask you first. Of like obviously the Magic might be a couple years away from the playoffs, but it's the similar situation as the Pistons are in. Like they're not really going to be making much like big splashes in free agency. It's just about waiting for your guys to develop, right? So like, is Wendell Carter trustable to be that guy as their center of a playoff team?
I believe so. I think he is the type of guy who, like, let's say they're in the playoffs 4 or 5 years from now and they make a deep playoff run. He's the guy that's going to be giving you those consistent, I wouldn't even say center, just big minutes, because there's a chance that, they run him next to another center in the future. Even this year, they might run him with Mo Bamba a lot. But I think he gives you, like you said, he gives you the rebounds. He started taking the threes this past season in a higher volume, shooting decently for, what it is. It's Wendell Carter. And he's got a little bag. He's got a mini bag, got a little baby Birkin. And it's not bad. I think defensively, he's got the wingspan. He's got the physicals to do so, to be a decent playoff defender. My main question would be, you just signed him last year or whatever to that 4-year deal. If you are planning on making the playoffs in the next 3 to 4 years, are you planning on winning the championship in 3 to 4 years? Because
No.
I mean, they're going to be trying to, are they not?
Money wise, this team
Yeah,
is
they'll
going to
try.
get super expensive, super quick. And I see a guy like Wendell Carter, who is going to be,
Might
on
want
the
some
end
money.
of his contract, either wants some money or is going to have to go.
Yeah.
It's when you look long term like this with teams, like, it's hard to project. But I think that, long answer short, yes, I think he could be a playoff center, a decent playoff center for Orlando.
Either of you guys got anything to say on Wendell Carter specifically, or should we just go right into
Obviously, I
guard
don't know
talk?
as much as Doug does about
Yeah.
Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
That's why I posed that one to Dove, and if we want, we can just move right on to the guards, because I think we all know more about the guards, which is Cole Anthony, who was the leading scorer last year, Markelle Fultz, the former number 1 overall pick, and Jalen Suggs, their 4th overall pick last year, who people were saying should have been 2 or 3. Who's gonna step up? Is it gonna be Cole Anthony again? Do we see a rebound season from Markelle Fultz? I mean, not that he ever was on top to rebound from, but do we see him return to his expectations, or is Jalen Suggs gonna make a leap that he did not have last year? Because in all honesty, Jalen Suggs was mediocre at best last
Yeah.
year. So, Jack, which guard would you prefer to take that step? Because they all do different things. Like, which one would
Yeah.
you like to either see in the lineup, or do you think will play themselves into that lineup?
I think it's gonna be Cole Anthony, just because he's looked like the best. I would love for it to be Jalen Suggs though, because he could I don't know. He was a dog at Gonzaga, and he was all about winning. So you want guys that win. You have Paolo, who is successful. Franz was on a successful team, and Jalen Suggs is obviously very successful in college and in high school. So I don't know. I think if he comes into the role of being their starting point guard, that could be big for the rest of the team.
Yeah, JD, you got a guard that you like the most out of those 3?
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with Mindy. I think it's got to be Jalen Suggs here. He was mid at best last year, and I want to see a lot more out of him. Like you said, he was the 4th overall pick, so you expect more than that. And when you have such a young core like this, and you already have probably 1, 2, and 3 options closed off, and then you have everyone else looking outside in, Jalen Suggs has to do something to make himself stand out. And I know he can be a great perimeter defender, so he could be out there. He could also be a great 3-point shooter. So I think he's got to develop. And I know Markelle Fultz has a great story, but they have younger guys who are better and have more upside, I'll say, at this point in their careers. So I would say give the minutes to Jalen Suggs over Markelle Fultz. And then obviously you want Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony's getting his minutes. Yeah.
He's going to be there getting his minutes. I want Cole Anthony to average over at least 19, 20 points. That would be ideal for him.
That's a solid leap, from 15, like in the NBA,
16.
Going from 16 to 19, that's not
It's
nothing.
big. Yeah.
Especially
not at all.
over the course of an 82 game season, that's a lot of points. Dove, do you have a guard you think should either not be listed among those 3, or should be potentially starting or getting the most minutes?
Still really like Markelle.
I know. I
still
feel the
really
same
like
way. I
Markelle.
feel the same way.
I think you have to start Markelle this year.
That's
Purely
blasphemy.
off.
He told me about
my
this.
vision.
Yeah, he
my
told me
vision
about
of
this.
this.
I disagreed
team,
with him.
Nobody's
my
seen
vision of
this
this team.
Nobody
My
will
vision
see
of this
this vision.
team
Oh no,
is
this
a
is
team
player.
exactly like you guys were talking about, where Jalen Suggs is the heart of this team. He's that guy that wants to win at everything he does. I mean, he played football too in high school. We know he
Jalen
wants
Suggs
it.
isn't the heart. Am I right?
Eventually
He wasn't last year.
Are you
but
guys not
it could
saying you want to
change.
start him at point guard with the
That's
the
what I'm
goal of
saying.
having him be the main, right? So I'm saying next year I would like to start Markelle, because I think you bring on the oldest guy, you bring on the guy with the most experience, you bring on the guy with the most level head who's been through all of this stuff in the NBA. I mean, I can't imagine how many different applicable experiences Markelle has had that he can teach these other guys about throughout the season, being that lead point guard.
What do you think?
And I think he can
what has
do
he
it.
done?
I think
He's played like
he
80
can
games.
do it. Okay, yes, I know he hasn't been able to stay on
Number
the
one
floor,
overall pick.
but man, it's Markelle. He still
Yeah.
has the playmaking, finishing, ball handling abilities he had before. He's
Cole
still
Anthony.
just progressively making his way towards getting that shot back. It's never going to be the same as it was before. We all know that. The Philadelphia 76ers ruined his career in the sense of what we thought it could be. But we've seen this time and time again where players take time. And I know this is a really extreme version of it, but it happens. It can happen. And I think Markelle is the type of player that will put the work in to put himself in the position where he can get a 4-year deal, even though he's been injured for so long.
I don't know about that.
My thing is, I think Cole
Didn't
Anthony's
he
going to be
just
good.
sign
Like,
Exactly.
Cole
and you
Anthony's
don't just
gonna-
throw a Markelle in the starting role when you have a Cole Anthony.
Yeah. Cole Anthony is going to be good.
I'm curious
Like, he's there. Like, he's already
what you
good.
guys think Cole Anthony brings you starting versus off the bench. Like what the difference.
My
you
point
guys
is that Cole's going to be good no matter what. So if they can get Fultz or Suggs to step up to their full potential, number 1 pick, number 4 pick, then that's where they take off.
And this is me not saying I don't like Suggs, by the way. I mean,
Let me just say, if I remember
preacher.
correctly, when we were making this PowerPoint, Dove envisioned Gary Harris starting next year. You said
Yeah,
those
yeah.
words.
I did say those words, but that was
I
at the
think-
2 next to.
Markelle?
I think I left it blank when I originally wrote it. Let me see.
So, like, I think Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs probably are starting at the guards. I think you have to,
Yeah.
like, you cannot
with
bench
that.
Cole Anthony. He started every game he played last year, and he did not warrant getting removed from the starting lineup. Like,
Or
you can't
Franz at the
do
Throw him
that.
in the 2.
Franz at the 2.
Throw Cole
Then-
at the 2.
And then Fultz at the 1.
Yeah.
And then keep your number 4 overall pick on the bench.
I mean, I don't. If
Like,
your
that's what you're
argument,
saying.
if
Like,
your
think about
argument,
that.
yeah,
That's not the way.
Do you think that
It's like sitting Jaden Ivey next year.
Fully.
it's not
yeah.
like sitting Jaden Ivey? It's like bring him off
Jaden
the
I-
bench. That's not sitting.
next
You're
year.
talking. You're
Two-
saying it
a
you're
year from
saying it
now.
Like I'm saying, you're saying it like I'm saying. Jalen Suggs will not play more than like 10 minutes a game.
He's not a rookie anymore, though.
Okay, but he
Like,
didn't
you want him
show
to
us.
try and
He
get
didn't
better?
show us that he was the sophomore
He
to
obviously has to
give
play into his
25,
role.
28 minutes a game.
He played 27 minutes a game last year.
And he didn't show me that he deserved to keep that for next year.
Okay.
If you have 2 other guards who deserve it more.
We'll finish up the conversation at the end of this episode with rotation talk, and we'll get more into specifics on minutes and stuff. But let's move on to the next piece of the Magic's offseason. So, Dove, if you wouldn't mind doing the
Yes.
honors of
Oh, I
switching
got
this
it.
over.
I had to switch.
Here's a nice visual.
Shuts out.
Ito.
Shuts out.
09 Orlando Magic beat LeBron.
Turkaloo.
Jameer.
Richard.
Richard.
Yeah.
Not to mention Dwight Howard.
Who?
Dwight Howard.
Who?
Dwight.
So obviously we talked about Paolo Banchero. We're moving on to the 2022 draft. They had the number 1 overall pick. Lucky them. They also added Caleb Houston with their
The boy.
2nd round pick out of the University of Michigan, the Orlando Wolverines, the Michigan Magic, whatever you want to call them. We talked about Paolo a little bit, but let's more just talk about Caleb Houston. We all were in agreement that it was a terrible idea for him to come out of the draft or to come out for the draft, I think. And somehow he gets drafted. I didn't even think he'd get drafted, to be honest. And he gets drafted with the 3rd pick in the 2nd round. Like,
Fully.
I don't think he's getting any minutes this year unless injuries happen or they trade people. Does anyone disagree with me on that?
No.
No.
Nah.
Especially with the
there's-
way he's performed in summer league so far.
I mean, we talked about it. Like there's Paolo. And then there's not that much else to talk about when it comes to the draft
Yeah.
for them. I mean, there are teams like the Rockets who, when they get a top pick like this year and last year, they go out and they make sure they fill all the holes in their roster.
Pause. You're doing it on purpose at this point.
And Orlando didn't do that. So, it's like there's not that much to say about what they did in the draft. I mean, good job. You got the number one pick.
Caleb was like a top 5 high school prospect, right?
I think they see him as a project player. Like
he is.
They're young, and
Was
if
he not
he
a
pans
project
out,
player going into his sophomore season?
At Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
he was
played-
far. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't believe he was. It's the same
Was he
thing with
not a
Max
freshman?
Christie. Like if we talk about the Lakers in one of these,
Oh,
like
he was
Max,
fully
Don't get
not
me
a freshman.
started.
no,
He
Houston was a
Don't get
freshman.
me started.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, like Max
Yeah,
Christie
I
was a
said going into
freshman.
sophomore
He
season.
could have easily benefited from another season at Michigan State, but he still went 35th overall, just based on
Yeah.
potential.
I'm
So
not gonna lie.
It happens all the time.
Caleb
Brazdeikis did it. Tim Hardaway Jr. like probably should have gone, but he did it. Mitch McGarry did it. People from Michigan, I mean, they probably get promised like a
Tim Hardaway and
gonna
Mitch
get
McGarry
drafted.
stayed. Mitch McGarry had to
Yeah.
leave because of his weed. He
yeah,
got charged.
That
he had to
he
leave
did.
Michigan, and then he had to
did
leave
have
the NBA because
He
of
had
that.
to leave. No, yeah,
He had to leave.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so like we'll talk about Paolo more when it comes to rotations as well. We'll cover them a little bit more, but let's just move on to
Shaq and
the more
Hakeem.
the beef of their offseason moves. Obviously, they added Houston and Paolo. They also re-signed Mo Bamba after making him an unrestricted free agent. I believe they pulled his qualifying offer. They still re-signed him for a 2-year, $20 million deal, supposedly to come off the bench. Because Wendell Carter is their starting center, even though Mo Bamba actually enjoyed a pretty decent year last year. And then they also brought back Bull, who they acquired in trade. I think they technically got him from like the Celtics, like not the Nuggets. But they signed him to a low risk 2-year, $4.4 million. Honestly, good for Bull. That's more
Yeah.
money than I think a lot of teams would have been willing to pay him. And then arguably their biggest addition is a guy who hasn't played basketball in 2 years. That's Jonathan Isaacs. He is not.
Isaacs.
No, I do that. Like,
Yeah, no,
like
you're good.
I say
Go ahead.
Nordstrom's.
Nordstrom's. Yeah.
But
Wait,
he's
wait,
their
wait,
highest
wait,
paid
wait,
player.
wait. Stop. Wait.
What?
It's Nordstrom.
Yeah.
Did you say Kroger's?
Damn.
I
All right,
say
never mind. Let's
Kroger's.
keep moving.
That's
Let's keep moving
hilarious.
before we take too
God.
far into it.
Oh,
Let's move on. before we
God.
get too
That
far
was
into
I
it.
don't like
No.
that one.
I say K. Roger.
Let's keep going.
That's fine.
I say K. Roger for the most part.
You were talking about Jonathan Isaac returning. Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan Isaacs. He's coming back. He's their highest paid player, and there might not be a starting spot for him based on what we were saying earlier. If you're starting
I don't
Cole Anthony
know.
and Jalen Suggs and Franz and Paolo and Wendell Carter, so which of these moves do you think is the most significant? Do you think it's Paolo? Obviously Paolo, but like, do you think they should have even brought back Mo Bamba, or do you think they should be letting Isaac return to the rotation?
I think this is just how the Magic are. They like to hoard players, and like Doug said earlier, they just re-signed Wendell Carter last year, and now they have all these big men, which they know they're not all gonna play. So now they have to cut weight and just figure out who is gonna play and who's just gonna ride the bench, and ultimately they're just gonna lose money, and it's kind of weird because I think on other teams, Mo Bamba would probably see minutes, and he might see a couple bench minutes on this team, but I don't know. I mean, you have your starting lineup probably solidified. It's probably debatable with your guard play, and other than that, it's just the deep bench, and they are deep when it comes to big men, so it'll be interesting how it goes. But like Bull, I don't see him getting many minutes. Jonathan Isaac, I don't know when he's going to return. And Mo Bamba, I think he'll get some bench minutes. But on other teams, I think with the most potential, it would be Bamba for sure.
To be honest, dude,
Is Jonathan Isaac healthy?
I guess so.
they think he'll be
Is
back
it
for the
s-
start of the
I-
season. I don't
up
know if
in the
Jonathan
air.
Isaac will have a spot in the rotation. Honestly,
I
they
agree
might
with
they
you.
might not play him.
Yeah, I don't think Bol will play, but
Well,
I like what the Magic. They have so many like guys. They have so many different players that could be so good or just not good, and it's crazy.
That's true.
Like they have so many young pieces that could either just skyrocket to the potential, Mo Bamba's potential, Jalen Suggs' potential, Bol. I don't think he's ever going to reach his potential. Jonathan Isaac, like when he plays, his potential is insane.
They have a lot of top 10 high school recruits on their NBA
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, for real.
Huge
Caleb
balls life
Houston.
fans over here.
And I like what they have, but high risk, high reward. So I'm excited to see this team. I am. No
Uh,
cap.
Dove, anything to say on these additions?
I don't know where is Mo Bamba gonna get minutes at all? Like, I mean,
Backup center.
Yeah, backup center, like, or
Yeah,
I think
he's not
even
making $10 million
I
a year.
realistically think the Magic might go super crazy and throw a lineup out there of like Franz at the one, or not Franz at the one, like Cole at the one, Franz at the two, Paolo at the three, Wendell at the four, Mo at the five. Like I could
was thinking
easily
Isaac
see
at the
them doing
three,
instead of Paolo.
Paulo at the four, and Bamba
Paolo at
or
the
Wendell
two.
at the five.
I don't think you take
Isaac can't
Wendell out
shoot
of
at
any of
all.
these lineups. I'm not gonna lie. I think Wendell out of any of these players that we've actually seen watch, so that's excluding Paolo, and kind of Jonathan Isaac, I guess, based on my own. Like realistically, I think Wendell is the most locked in starter out of any of those guys.
I think Mo
I think that's
Bamba has to get a lot of minutes, in my opinion.
I
If you look at their
especially after last year,
if you look at their 3-point shooting from last year among players who actually played, Gary Harris was their leading 3-point shooter on 1.9 of 5 for 38.4%, and then Mo Bamba was 2 on 1.5 out of 4, 38.1% from 3, averaging 10 points. He's the only player on their team averaging over a block a game at 1.7. The next highest is Wendell Carter at 0.7. So he definitely brings the rim protection. He might not give you the minutes, but in terms of just versatility, he does things that other players can't do on the Magic. And I think like him and Wendell Carter are a true center by committee.
I agree.
I think
agree.
Wendell will be the solidified starter, but they'll kind of split minutes.
I think
I think
Just
you
to
just have to
add
ride
to
the
what-
hot hand.
just
Yeah.
to add to basically almost repeating exactly what Shoop said, but not really.
Oh, okay.
Wendell is the post, the paint defender, and Mo is the rim protector. That's, I mean, you can see it physically in their bodies. I'm not gonna lie. Like you have a really
Yeah.
lanky, long, tall man, and then a big bodied, admittedly, but kind of
Yeah.
smaller bodied dude.
This isn't on the slideshow, but I'll just their addition or their losses were very short list. It was Admiral Schofield, who was not really
No.
getting minutes. Robin Lopez, which frees up backup center minutes because he did actually play. That's also a
did.
veteran that's no longer on their team. And Iggy Brazinkis also expired this past year. and they did not play that, so-
Iggy, what?
Brazinkis?
That's what is it not Iggy Brazinkis?
Brazdakis.
That's what I said. Brazinkis.
Brazinkis.
Okay.
That's what I just
You
said.
sound like Tingus Pingus. Right now. All right.
Brazdakis.
Michael Rappaport ass.
Sure. Right.
Moses Modi.
All right. So
Moses.
honestly, let's just start wrapping this up.
Shouts out Jameer.
Like we were like
Magic
a lot of us
Vooch.
were saying, the Magic
Shouts out
just
Augustine.
have a lot of guys.
Shouts out.
And
Augustine.
like
Shout
Jack
out
kind of put it
Augustine.
well of they have a lot of guys that might be good and a lot of guys that might be bad. We just don't know yet. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to play people.
Facts.
So without further ado, let's wrap this up by just talking about either guys that are definitely not going to be in the rotation or guys that are definitely going to be in the rotation. We kind of all have like, I'm just going to save us a little bit of time. Like obviously Paolo and Franz are going to be starting, but besides that, those are honestly the only two locked in starters. There's guys we haven't even talked about yet. Like RJ Hampton, Terrence Ross, Chumo Kiki, Mo Wagner. And then obviously the trio of guards that we talked about earlier of Suggs, Fultz, and Fultz, and Cole Anthony. And then there's also Gary Harris, who they extended this offseason. So
For a bag.
they don't have enough
Terrence Ross is
minutes.
Oh, I
gone
forgot
now,
to
too.
write that in the additions. My bad.
Terrence Ross?
Yeah.
Forgot about his bag.
Gone?
Gary Harris's bag. Terrence Ross gone. What?
Is he gone?
No,
No.
no, he's
Okay,
not.
We
Okay.
forgot to mention him as well.
Yeah. He's
How?
yeah, exactly. That's why I'm mentioning now, because
He
all those
tweeted
guys I
some
mentioned,
cryptic shit.
what do we do
No,
with
I-
this line? Like how many, like it's the Magic. So you can run like a 10-man rotation, maybe even 11 on any given
Yeah,
night.
I like
Um,
that.
But who do you name your like top 8? Because like we can definitely do that. Like we may not be Orlando Magic experts, but we know ball. Like name Jack. We'll start with you. Name your top 8 guys. Like your starting 5, your 3, and then maybe your 2 bonus guys who you think are
Okay.
good but might not get those minutes just because only 8 guys can really get significant minutes per night.
All right. Okay, I'm just gonna go, and I'm probably gonna go back and change it because I'm probably gonna forget someone.
Right off the rip.
Off rip, starting point guard is Cole Anthony. Starting shooting guard is Jalen Suggs. Starting small forward is Franz. I will avoid the Jonathan Isaac shit and go with Paolo and Wendell. Off the bench, we're bringing in Mo Bamba. This is not in order.
Yeah, of course.
But he's going to play. Gary Harris is going to play. So that's
More.
7.
Yep.
Markel Fultz is going to play. That's 8.
That's your last lock.
Yeah. So then like your 2 bonus guys, you got Okiki,
Jonathan Isaac.
Hampton, Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac's going to play.
Terrence
Terrence
Ross
Ross.
is still on there.
Ross.
I think
Bol
Terrence
Bol.
Ross might get waived or maybe just become like a veteran guy that doesn't really play that much. Okiki gonna fall out. He's good though. Isaac's gonna play. Like they're gonna run 9-man rotation at least during the regular season.
JD, you got any gripes with that list, or you agree with him
I'm
through and through?
100%, 1,000% on board.
Just
Same
ditto
exact
everything you
starting
said.
lineup.
Same
RJ
exact
Hampton's
starting
the
lineup.
borderline guy.
So your starting lineup again was Cole, Jalen, Franz, Paolo, and Wendell.
Yep.
Yes. That should be opening night's starting lineup.
Yeah, this is opening night, not mid-season when Markel Fultz starts shooting 60% in your mind.
All right. Well, my 8, because I'll
Yeah.
I think Markel at the 1, Cole at the 2, Franz at the 3, Paolo at the 4, Wendell at the 5. And then your 6 is Mo Bamba. I think.
So you went back on Gary Harris starting.
Yeah, because I just completely forgot. Because I hadn't, when I wrote down originally what I wanted to be the rotation, I left a question mark for the 1. So
Okay.
I just
Fair
kind of
enough.
forgot about that. He gets pushed all the way out this 8 because Jalen Suggs is 7 for me. And then I guess you have to go with Jonathan Isaac for 8. I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't even know if he actually is going to play
Is there
for this team.
player?
Apparently they like him.
I mean, when he
I mean-
plays, he's good.
We saw this. I mean, he's in that picture.
When
Yeah,
he
he's still
plays, he's
got-
good.
They still have team camaraderie.
Presumably
With
they
him.
still like each other. So I
Yeah.
guess he's going to play. So I would have him at my 8. And then the 2 guys, give me Chuma and RJ Hampton.
Um,
Did you say
Okay.
Jalen Suggs?
Yeah, that was my 7.
Okay.
Seven.
So
yeah.
who did you
There's
leave out that I
No,
didn't?
he didn't. He gave 11 players because he said Mo Bamba.
No, I
Mo,
said
did you say you gave
Mobamba
Mo Bamba,
6.
Suggs, Isaac,
That was it. And then I gave my
Okiki,
2,
and
Okiki and Hampton.
So
okay.
who did you leave out that I didn't?
T.
I left
Ross.
out T. Ross and
I didn't
took
say him.
Hampton and
Uh,
Okiki.
Gary Harris. You did not say Gary.
Oh yeah,
Gary
Gary
Harris
Harris.
was your
Gary
seven.
Harris.
I mean, they did not just sign him to that to
Yeah,
play.
no,
him.
I just don't. I
That-
just
So here's what I think.
probably gonna be RJ over though, or
I-
Gary
I think-
Gary
realistic
over
here, Doug.
RJ though.
I think the starting lineup is a no brainer with Jack and Duve. I think starting Suggs and Anthony alongside Franz, Paulo, and Wendell. Although I really think the argument could be made for Mo Bamba. I
Yeah.
think he could end up starting a lot of games. And then obviously off the bench, like Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, interchangeable. When you get down to 7 and 8, I think you're looking at Markel 100%. And then you're probably looking at
Gary Harris. You gotta
yeah,
say
I think it's Gary. Yeah, it's Gary Harris. Like you said, you don't pay Gary Harris that money for him not to get that playing time. However, I think
But Jonathan Isaac.
depending on how the season goes for them, I could see Gary Harris falling out of the rotation completely. Like you
Yeah.
were saying about T. Ross getting those veteran scratched minutes, like only coming in blowouts. I could see Gary Harris just suiting up and not playing, or getting
Yeah.
traded, depending on
I
how
would
that
like
goes.
that, but just the money.
I see no Isaac. I don't think he's. I just don't. I don't think he. I
It's
don't think he
completely
starts.
fair.
I don't think he starts in the rotation. He might be able to play his way in. But I think my 9 and 10. I think Okiki is going to get a lot of minutes. I think especially with Paulo being young, Okiki can play alongside Carter and Bamba a little bit if they want to. And then T. Ross. T. Ross probably. Like I think T. Ross might be my 10th. Like he's just a good player. I fuck with Terrence Ross.
Me too.
I mean, it makes sense. He's a
Raptors,
fun
Terrence
player.
Ross.
But I also
Of course.
I love RJ Hampton, but unfortunately he just has no role on this team.
I agree.
just
I just
like, I
felt
want
like
to see
picking
him
him over
succeed.
Gary.
And
I just
because
felt like picking
he
him
showed
over him.
flashes with Denver, but obviously Denver traded him to get Aaron Gordon, which was a good move. Like that worked out for both teams. And I was
Worked
like,
out for
good.
Aaron too.
RJ Hampton's gonna get minutes. Like I'm gonna get to see him succeed. And then they have Jalen Suggs, Markel Fultz, and Cole Anthony. So he's just and Gary Harris gets the minutes over him, who is
And
packaged with him.
Ross.
And T. Ross. Like he's just never gonna get the minutes,
Full
unfortunately.
bull at the point.
So that, but now that we've talked about that, like for at least for me, that leaves RJ Hampton, Isaac, Bull, Houston.
Houston.
Chuma.
No, I said Chuma.
Oh, you said no, my bad.
Yeah. And if you want to put
Mo
in Mo
Wagner.
Wagner, like those are all guys who could get NBA minutes on another
And
team.
Teskey.
It's not on the team. But like those are all like we all had different 10-man. Like I mean, obviously
Not
they weren't
really. It was
necessarily in
pretty much
order.
the same.
No, but they weren't necessarily. But the order we were
Yeah.
saying them is the order we were saying them for a reason. Like we all had different guys in different orders. I think that's why it really shows the potential that this Magic team has. Like if they strike gold on, just a couple of these bench guys, like even if they strike out on 3 of them, if they strike gold on 2 of them, like they could be decent, like coming up soon. Like obviously they're not contending for a championship right now, but I could see them threatening a play-in team if Paulo really lives up to the hype, if Franz makes the next step, if Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba continue their slower upwards trajectory. Like if their trio of guards meshes well together and they can figure out a rotation where they all get to flourish. Like I'm not saying they're ready right away. It's a similar situation in the Pistons. They're rebuilding. They seem to be doing a good job. We'll see where it heads.
And I don't know if you guys have anything to say about Jamal Mosley. I don't really have any notes. I kind of threw him in there at the end just because I forgot to, but shout out Jamal Mosley.
Yeah.
For a very, very
He's a player's coach. Those we'll see.
Inspiring success story to make
Yeah.
it to the Orlando head coach position.
We'll see what happens with him. Like he's got time. That's for sure. He's gonna have time to prove himself with this young team. So anyone else got any? Let's I guess we'll predict. I've said that I think they might be able to compete for a play and even this upcoming year. What Duve, you kind of jumped the gun a little bit earlier, so I'll start with you first. What's their expectations this year, and how far away do you think they are from a playoff spot?
Like you said, I think they are there to threaten a 10-9 seed for a play-in, but they're waiting for these guys to develop, and you can't really do anything other than be patient. You don't want to rush them and force an injury or do anything bad like that. So you just got to wait and see how everything plays out. So I agree with you. I think they'll be if they all step up like you just said they could, they'll be fighting for a play-in spot. And I think from where they were last year and in a couple of years now, that's a really big that's a start to what they're trying to do and build. So that's huge.
Yeah. Jack, what do you think? What's their expectation for this season, and how far do you think they are from being a playoff team?
I agree with Duve. They just need time. They have the pieces. Now they just gotta see how it plays out. I don't think this is the year that they make the next step. I think it'll be like kind of what we saw with the Pistons this year, where there's flashes of greatness, but it's not there yet. And the fan base will be happy, but they'll still be. I'm gonna go with a 12 seed. I wanted to say 11, but that's just one out of the play-in, so I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going with 12. 12
Okay.
seed, but within 5 to 7 games of the play-in.
There will be a time in the season where they're realistically competing for
Yes.
a play-in, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
And Dove, why don't you take us home here? Expectations for this year and how far they are from a playoff team.
I just think there's a little bit too much going on right now, like a few too many question marks about who plays where. And
You don't have to
what
phrase it
is
like you're
X
disagreeing
player
with me. You
going
can
to
just give
be?
your opinion.
All right, I think they're going to be a lottery team again. I think they're probably going to be around 30 wins, maybe 35, depending on
By
what
lottery,
the
do you
rest
mean
of the
like
bottom of the
top 5?
I mean, like, well,
Because
that depends on-
lottery is anything
Posse.
outside the playoffs. Like,
right.
Victor
So okay, so
Wembanyama.
realistically, I could see them jumping up to like the 13th or 14th seed, so just one or two. Overtaking like the next worst team, like let's say, what's it?
so you think they're
What's the team
you
that's
think
gonna
they're gonna
drop
have
down?
you think they're gonna have bottom like 14%
Dude,
lottery odds next
I'm
year?
looking at the teams in the East now. I'm
There's not a lot of teams.
13, 14, maybe 15. Like,
That's what I'm saying. There's not many teams that I genuinely think the Orlando
are they going to
Magic
be
can
better
overtake.
than Wizards, Pacers, Pistons?
Yeah,
All three.
Wizards and Pacers for sure.
I think the Pacers might still have
I think
other
you could see
things
the
that they
Cavs
want to do,
slump.
but
Cavs slump? No way.
You can see
wow,
it.
I
It
don't
won't happen.
Nets
I don't think that's
slump.
gonna happen.
Not that bad.
The Nets suck.
I mean, Nets might be the worst team in the league, but that depends. I mean,
But they're not. No, nothing's happening. Nobody's leaving.
we've also
um,
seen that there's
the
like
Hornets
yeah,
are not going to be great. The
The
Knicks,
Hornets
you
are
don't
not
know
Hornets
what
are gonna
Jalen
suck.
Brunson's
The
going to
The
do.
Hornets
Hornets are gonna
suck.
suck.
The
They're gonna
Hawks.
suck.
The Hawks, like Trae Young's their only player. I'm sorry, Trae Young's their only player.
Yep.
They'll be in the
But we've
play-in
seen
though. They're
we've
not as
seen
bad as the
Trae
Magic.
Young.
Like,
Yeah,
we
they're not
haven't
as
seen
bad as
Trae
the
and
Magic,
DeJounte,
and
but,
we've
like-
seen
Bulls.
Trae Young do
The
exactly what we're
Bulls-
talking about, is taking
I
a team.
don't. If Lonzo's not there starting
All right,
night,
so
I
it's
don't
not
know.
like Dove. It's not a hot take. Like
Yeah,
like I said, you didn't have to phrase it by disagreeing with. You can just say your take.
I
You
think
don't-
I think
you
they're gonna
you
suck.
think they're going to be a bottom 4 team in the league.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get their ass beat almost
Yeah.
every night. But I
Okay.
mean, I think like Jack said,
12
that
seed.
doesn't mean that you can't have the flashes. Like you can't have the Paolo, 20, 30 piece or whatever. You can't have the Franz mirroring Sadiq Bey dropping 50 on them, dropping 50 on, someone else next season. Like, you never know. There are
Not the
definitely going
Pistons.
to be
It's not that much of a mirror.
slight mirror.
You wouldn't
Relative mirror.
allow him to
Not
do
even a little
back
bit of a mirror.
distance in your hypothetical.
Maybe just some guy telling some guy down the street what he thinks he saw the other day. That
I've got a
might
good
be
question
little
for
more
an
accurate.
after show.
Let's start the after show right
So
now.
let's
Quick
wrap-
5
let's
Yeah,
minute,
because
quick
I
5
don't
minute
have
after
anything
show.
left to say.
What
Little
you got,
after show?
Jack? Yeah, right now.
Pretty much extends the
Well,
quick.
wrap up. Hold on. Do the wrap up.
Yeah,
first.
do the thing and then
Do the thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shoot.
the thing. Yeah.
Do
Well,
the thing. Do the thing.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, so that about does it for our Orlando Magic off-season recap / preview for next season. They're like we were all saying, they're a complicated team with a lot of pieces, a lot of question marks. They're probably a few years away from really competing, really figuring out their identity. But they're promising, and that's something to look for. They have stuff to look forward to. So we'll see what happens. We'll obviously be covering them throughout the season. If you enjoyed this format, again, please let us know. Either tweet at us at Hustle and Hoops, Hustle the letter N Hoops. YouTube, Hustle and Hoops, it'll be on there. Spotify, Apple, obviously Hustle and Hoops. And yeah, thanks for listening / watching to this episode again. We appreciate it very much. And that'll do it for this episode. We'll have a quick after show now, huh?
quick after show. It basically just extends our conversation we were just having.
Okay.
But I'm asking all of you to pull up like ESPN, anything, look at the standings in the Eastern Conference so you can
From
look at
last
every
year.
team. Yeah.
Wait, look at the Toronto-Chicago box score. DJ Wilson had a game.
Oh, from the
Got
Summer
that.
League. Yeah,
We're going.
And then
They-
Ron
they-
Harper Jr. had a shitty game.
they got crushed.
Were there games when I was at work?
Yeah,
This
there's a
game's
3:30
happening right
game.
now.
There's
Oh wow, the Pistons game's in an hour.
Yeah.
Wait, what team is DJ Wilson on?
the Raptors.
Raptors. Okay, I'm peeping.
10, 5, and 2. Good splits.
Dude, Cam Thomas has been balling.
Yeah, does not need to be playing.
Very good splits. Okay.
Not
But
gonna
my
play
question
him, but-
is,
Oh yeah, I guess
my
he will
question
now.
is, tell me. I
Sean
think I
D.
already know who Doug is gonna say, but tell me who the worst team in the East. Who was the 15 seed in the East
Next year
next year?
I think
or
you
this
get it.
upcoming
I-
season, whatever. I don't know.
I think you have to assume it'll be the Nets.
No,
Because
No.
you
No,
have
you
to
don't.
you'd have to assume
I don't
that
think you
Katie and
do.
Kyrie are getting traded.
nobody's leaving.
No one's
If
leaving.
if they leave, if they do, it's
No,
them.
they're not leaving. I won't let you say that. Now we're assuming that they both stay. Now my question.
So you're
in-
wait, hold on. How about rephrase it? Everyone in the East stays.
No
with
more
everyone
major
leaves.
moves this offseason.
No more moves. None. Zero.
None. Besides maybe DeAndre Hunter or
DeAndre
DeAndre
Ayton?
Ayton for
No, that
Miles
would be-
Turner
that-
swap, but that changes nothing.
Yeah, I guess. So.
Nothing happens the rest
well,
of the
Then it's the
offseason.
Pacers.
Who is the
It's
worst
Pacers.
seed?
I mean,
The Pacers, like,
Pacers
the
selling
Pacers, though?
everything.
yeah, I feel like
they're gonna get
the
Ayton, though.
Pacers are the Spurs of the East or the West. The East this year.
Halliburton.
They're just gonna tank. I don't know.
Buddy
I mean,
Hield.
I honestly think it's the Knicks.
I could see.
All right.
the
Is
Knicks.
I dead serious.
That would be hilarious. I'm
Have
not gonna lie.
A weird feeling that the Knicks are at the bare minimum going to be the 14th seed.
What about the Wizards?
Too much talent on there, and Bradley.
Yeah,
Beal's
Bradley
probably
Beal.
playing.
Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal.
What do
Sorry.
you mean? What
Besides
talent?
Bradley Beal.
Sorry, I'm sorry. They have 15 players on
If
their
you don't-
team.
No, but
Amazing
it's the
role.
same
No, they
situation.
have
In my
very
opinion,
good role
It,
players.
like obviously they have the more experienced guys. They have the vets like Kuzma and Will Barton.
Would you rather have Denny
Monte
Avdija or
Morris?
Jonathan Isaac?
I think the Magic.
Would you rather
they're-
have Rui Hachimura or Chuma Akiki?
Dude, Rui doesn't play.
Would you rather have Contavious? Oh
Denny
wait, nope,
Avdija?
doesn't play.
They have the
Doesn't play for
same
that team
issue. They
anymore.
have the same issues as the Magic. Like they're just older.
Denny Avdija. Can we Israeli?
I have a Denny brood.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
out.
I love Denny.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, again, Wizards. they have a lot of players on that team that can actually like have shown us that they can actually play. That's why I'm drawing the difference. Like they've actually done that.
Yeah.
Roy hasn't just gotten any minutes since his injury.
I mean, I guess Thomas
Denny
Bryant's
hasn't gotten
gone.
any.
I'm on the Pacers
chance.
train. I'm on the Pacers train.
Yeah, I think the
I
Pacers
like
could
the,
be
I
dead
think that-
last.
I think that's a good pick.
Pacers.
Or the Magic.
Chris Duarte might
Wizards.
suck.
He's
Yeah, he
Oh,
might-
you know
did
why the
fall off
Wizards
at the
could
end
be
of
a
last
good
year.
one though? Is if they put all the chips in on Johnny Davis for the season.
Oh God.
Bust.
Starting point guard.
I guess
Johnny
we can
Davis.
say it because it's in the
That's what I
post game show.
Sorry, ZD.
EJ Liddell out for the season.
Oh no.
What a shame.
Oh no, not that.
What a shame. Shouts out EJ Liddell.
I mean,
We hardly knew you.
can we get Jacuzzi to pull up the clip from last week where I said the Pelicans sucked in the draft?
You can pull up the clip.
Nah,
Dyson.
we need our editor in
Yeah.
chief.
Jacuzzi Gucci.
All right.
All right. I think that
Yeah.
about does it for the post show.
Oh, all right. Wait, I got one more thing for the post.
Oh,
Quickly.
okay.
Since it's about to start in 7 minutes, over 8.5 Tigers game. If anyone's gonna
book it.
listen, it's probably gonna be uploading while we
Yeah.
do it. But
This is on
Can't
the
get it
record.
in
It's
time.
on
this
the
is
record.
on the record.
Over
Tigers.
It's on
Royals.
the
Go
record.
Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Eat them up.
Go Tigers.
Eat
Eat
them
'em
up.
up. Eat 'em up.
Go
eat 'em up,
Tigers.
You're not even gonna say it.
eat 'em
Go
up.
Tigers.
Subscribe.
All right. Thank you all
Hustle-
if you stuck
Hustle
around.
and
If you
hoops.
stuck
N
around for
with an
this
N,
long,
the letter.
we
Download the
appreciate
video.
you. Thank
like it,
you. Like,
comment.
subscribe,
Download the
share it with a neighbor.
They can't
and
do that.
Email it to your professor.
We'll see you all
Email it
next
to your
time.
cousin,
Peace.
your brother.